Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Aura Podcast. I'm joined by Noah Zeppa.
Hey,
How you been?
Not bad. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. We like to have some diversity here on the podcast. Off the rip, let everyone know what are you studying right now?
I'm just studying psychology, Bachelor of Arts, and I love it so far.
You're enjoying it?
Enjoying it.
Why did you decide to join psychology?
Honestly, sports takes a big part of my life, and I realized there was a huge mental demand early on when I was playing juniors, and my goal is to be a sports psychologist. I want to attack that aspect of the game, and ever since then, I just had a pretty big passion for psychology and what we can do to help people improve that part of their games and just in their life.
So you're big on the whole mental health aspect?
Yeah, the mental health aspect really, I don't know, my first year junior, I realized there's a lot of guys that are struggling playing, and it's just like, you know what, we need more people in that field, and maybe one day we can improve it, because it's such a big part now. So many athletes are coming out saying, oh, I'm not all there mentally, and it's taken over.
That's true. Do you know anyone particularly who's faced mental health issues on your hockey team and stuff like that?
This year it was pretty tough on me personally, balancing full-time university while playing junior hockey full-time. This year I was fortunate enough to just go to my coach and be like, hey, I need a month off here just to dial in, and he helped me out a lot, and
he was responsive to that type of stuff.
And he gave me the time I needed to come back, and they've been great so far.
Well, I've actually I've never heard of that happening where an athlete just basically comes out saying, I need a month off, and the coach, I've never done that personally. I didn't think you could do something like that, but that's great. So you do play hockey, right? So kind of walk us through that whole experience. So obviously you played for the Soo Greyhounds. So what was before that? How did you get to that point?
So honestly, I was always a smaller kid. So growing up in the Soo, I honestly got cut from a rep program honestly my whole life. Then I got cut 6 years in a row, literally. And every year I just came back to tryouts, and I think it was when I was in my Bantam minor year, Bantam major year, I think I was in grade 9, I finally cracked the team. And 2 years later, I never really had any goals to make the OHL or play junior hockey, because I was never made it. So then things went my way. I grew 7 inches in 2 years, and then on draft day I heard my name called, and that was unreal.
So what do you think? Obviously, who did you play for before the Soo Greyhounds?
I just played for our local hockey team, the Soo Junior Thunderbirds.
And how does that work? You just get drafted?
So the OHL draft is usually there's 300 kids in the province, 15 rounds, and you basically, from the whole province, if you hear your name called, it's great, but that doesn't automatically mean you make the team. So usually if you don't go in the top certain amount of rounds, you'll never even see the ice in the OHL. So then you go play Junior A or Junior B.
Oh, okay.
So it's a whole system in Canada.
And what round were you again?
I went in the U18 second round.
Oh wow, so you're a high round.
Ish. So it's even more complicated than that. I got bypassed my first year in the OHL draft. All 15 rounds went, and I hear my name. Yeah. So I went back to midget and played midget, and I was a pretty high pick in that U18 draft.
Oh, okay. So,
take us to the draft. What was that like for you personally? Were you home with your parents?
Yeah, I was just at home. I never really even paid attention to it, really. I just kind of didn't want to focus on it too much, because at the end of the day, if you get drafted or not, you still have to put in the work. So I just was watching the draft on my computer with my dad, and when the Soo Greyhounds were up and they called me, it was just unreal.
So you're pretty just
Yeah, I was just wow, that was probably one of the coolest moments of my life.
So how was it actually going into the whole team and experiencing that part?
So that was unreal. I never knew that would happen. Their goalie got hurt. Actually, I think their goalie, a ref stepped on their starting goalie's leg in warm-ups. So they gave me the call. I got called up, and I never played a game, but I got about 9 games of experience on the bench, and that was just unreal. Just walking through the tunnel and being with future NHL guys was just unreal.
So how was it walking through the tunnel and just pre-game? That must have been crazy, because OHL's
it's in the Soo Greyhounds, that's the thing in the Soo, right? There's not much to do here, so on a Friday, Saturday night, guys are going to watch the Soo Greyhounds play hockey.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's kind of not saying it's a huge deal, but to a lot of people, it was unbelievable.
What do you think that means for like the whole Sault Ste. Marie community? Because obviously when I moved here, and I don't really know what's going on here and stuff like that. But like the one thing that I kept on hearing and that I kept on hearing and like listening to is just that hockey team.
Yeah.
And I see the hockey team when I drive around to like the arenas and all that type of stuff. So like, what do you think that means for the whole like community, the Soo Greyhounds?
It's just like it's such a hockey community, right? You grow up. Every kid when they grow up is like you put on that Soo Greyhounds jersey, and when you get the chance to actually do that, it's like, that's I can't believe that just happened. It's just surreal. There's not too many kids ever get the chance to make it from the Soo to that level.
That's true. So, but was your whole like family and friends there like at the games and stuff when you were there?
Yeah, my grandparents have season tickets, so I had season tickets to the Soo my whole life. So they sit in that same corner, and then they were there and they loved it.
That's actually sick.
Yeah.
So, what's it called? Obviously, for me, when I play soccer, like even at like just a low level in my life, kickoff, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? But obviously at the OHL, it's a high level. When you'll get those calls and stuff. Like, how was like that feeling, like the nerves, and like how did you deal with that?
I think I'm a pretty nervous guy in general. No matter what I do, I'm always nervous. But I have a pretty superstitious routine. And when I stick to my routine, it kind of calms me down. And
can you share that routine?
It's super long. Like I wake up at the same time. Like Friday night I played here, and I think I woke up Friday 10:00. Went to the rink, stretched, rode the bike, went home at 11:30, ate breakfast. Then I was napping by exactly 2:00. Woke up at 3:30, had my pregame meal.
So it's just like precise.
It's just like precise and right up to the game time, right up to warm-ups. I'm juggling at the exact same time. I'm stretching and so. It's probably been the same routine since I was about 15 years old.
Wow, you just carry that all the way.
Yeah, it's never really changed. Obviously, sometimes you can't always adapt, but when I can, I like to control.
But then, obviously, when you get on that ice, does like all the nerves just go away?
You
still feel a bit.
I think I always go like to stop the first puck. Once I stop my first shot, I'm totally.
Because I think you're a goalkeeper. Yeah, as a goalie, I feel like in any sport, team sport, I think goalie has to be one of the most nerve-wracking position, just because you let a goal in, it's like, wow, okay, I just got scored.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, like, I think pressure is a self-induced, right? Mm-hmm. Like, as a goalie, I can put just as much pressure on myself as a fourth-line bench player, right? Like, as long as you're not that hard on yourself, it'll be fine. Like, because I can have the same amount of pressure I put on myself as you put on yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
At the end of the day, it's all about what you expect and how you want to play.
So now after the OHL, when you finish with that, what are you playing right now?
Right now I just play for the Soo Thunderbirds, Junior A. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a little bit lower level.
Yeah. But you're enjoying it?
Yeah, it's honestly great. We have a great group of guys. There's a bunch of Soo kids playing hockey. So it's a bunch of guys I grew up with. And
is there a big gap you'd say from like this the way you're playing now to OHL?
Oh yeah,
a huge gap.
I wouldn't say huge, but it's definitely a pretty big difference.
Are there like this sort of like different like perks or whatever that you get in the OHL that you don't really get?
Oh, you get a lot of like I think so. Right now we're more pay to play. Like a lot of us still have to pay quite a bit of money, but in the OHL you nothing. You get everything for free, and this you get treated more like a professional.
Yeah. So that side was like very
that side's like you can't beat what you get in the OHL. Like here we still have to do a lot of stuff for ourselves, but at the end of the day, like you can't ask for much. It's not much.
So with like, I'll be honest with you, growing up around, and I had some friends that played hockey. You know what I mean? They have a certain, I'd say personality, sort of, like to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You
know what I mean? You'd always kind of like in class or just for me, I'd be like, kid, this guy plays hockey. Yeah. I can kind of tell. And majority of the time, I'm not gonna say I was right, but you know what I mean. You can kind of tell they play hockey.
Yeah, I think.
So how was that like? I just want to know I want to know the locker room scene. I'll be honest with you. I want to know the locker room scene. I want to know, pre-game, how is that like?
I think hockey culture in general
is crazy.
Hockey culture has been taking pretty bad backlash in the last. Honestly, in the last couple of years, it's a lot of things have been coming out where it's like, hey, like what's going on here? But I think a difference between like say hockey versus soccer is like soccer, we're going on the field, we don't have that time in the locker room to get to know each other, right? Hockey, you're spending 2 hours a day minimum with the boys in that locker room.
Oh,
So like you're learning everything
Yeah.
about them, and like you at the end of the day, at the end of the year, you're like your brothers.
Yeah,
How
I was
much
gonna
time you
say, guys
spend.
see, like hockey is like, I mean, I don't even
Yeah.
I don't want to put a sting on them. They seem very close.
Yeah.
And like tight.
I think that's the only difference between any other sport is like they're like your brothers. Like when I play soccer, we're seeing each other at the field. We go practice and we go home. We don't have that extra hours.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think this hockey culture in general definitely needs to change.
Especially at that high level too. I feel like
Yeah.
everyone just wants to stay together and just keep playing.
Yeah, but hockey culture in general definitely needs to change. Like example, like that Chicago Blackhawks scene. If you ever heard about that, like that Kyle Beach situation.
I think.
Yeah, like stuff like that. It's just.
Is it? I mean, I don't know if it's appropriate to tell. Like, did you explain for anyone that doesn't?
I don't know. Just like look it up. Like it's. I don't know if I'm most like on topic
So
of
look
it.
it up. If you guys don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, just I don't know. It's just. And hockey's super expensive now too. So
I was actually wondering about that.
yeah, so I think like now you look at like the men's national soccer team, like it's brutal for the game of hockey that they're doing so well.
That's true. These guys they're doing insane.
They're doing so well. So now kids are like, hey man, like we have a chance to play soccer in Canada.
Yeah.
Like if you look at, for example, whenever I get dressed playing hockey, I'm putting on about $7,000 worth of equipment on my body.
That's what I was gonna say. Like I was like wanted to ask that question. Like hockey's equipment is so expensive.
That's why I just believe it's a dying game, to be honest, because it's hard to afford. Like just my goalie pads alone are $2,200. And like you can go play soccer. You can get a good pair of boots for $150.
That's true.
It's just that's why I think it's a dying game. It's just not too many people are going to be able to afford hockey soon. Every year it's increasing price.
How long does that last? Like, cause like I know there are guys that play hockey from like they're like so young to like maybe like 18, 19, 20. Like how much do you think you've spent on just...
Honestly, I think I couldn't even tell you. Like I'm so thankful for my parents. Yeah. They've probably like over $200,000 in my hockey. Like on probably from tournaments.
I was gonna guess like 50. I'll be honest, like 50.
No, like from because I would go to because if you think down Toronto, like there's academies now where kids are going to like the Hill Academy. It's like $42,000 a year, and like they're on ice and they're playing for, say, the Vaughan Kings. It costs $13,000 to play for that program a year, and they're starting at age 10. So by the time you get to 16, you're already spending over all that.
I did not know it was that expensive.
Like in the Soo, it's honestly fairly. And the thing about the Soo is you're traveling. To play a close team, you're traveling 4 hours. So that bus trip's going to cost money. The hotel's going to cost money. And
you guys travel a lot to play out, right?
Yeah, like so our closest team we play is Blind River right now. So it's not bad. It's only an hour and a half. But as a minor team, your closest team's Sudbury. Then you got to go play Timmins. Then you got to go play all those northern communities.
So you've been like all over, like you've been all over Ontario, just
all over. Then even last year, I ended up in Ottawa.
Oh, really? And
I've ended up in Hearst and Chatham. I've been all over.
Have you been anywhere like outside of Ontario playing hockey?
No.
You've never been outside?
I didn't really know. My best friend right now is playing in Swan River, Manitoba. And that's just in the middle of nowhere. And like, there's just so many leagues. And he's lighting it up right now, and he's actually getting a pretty good luck.
Oh, okay. So you never played outside?
No, never really played hockey. I played in the States. Like,
you played in the States?
Oh, hundreds of times.
Like
but
tournaments or just for actual teams?
Yeah, I played for a team out of New Jersey when I was little. Like the hockey world's just nuts.
You played for a team like in
New Jersey, like
by yourself, or did your parents and everything were there?
Yeah, I flew down there and played with them for a couple months, and
really,
yeah, like the hockey world's nuts.
So wait, I didn't even know that. So you're in New Jersey for like a couple months. At what age?
I think I was 12 years
old. I was 12. Were your parents and stuff there with you? Of course.
Yeah, they traveled with me, but they dropped me off. And I moved out, when I was 16, I moved by myself, and I lived with a billet family in Hearst. Oh. So, like, guys are moving at a super young age.
So how was that experience just moving, like, at a young age, really?
You mature a lot. Like, it's like the same thing as, like, university, just a little younger. Yeah. You mature a lot, and you learn a lot about yourself. And
So when you moved out, like, obviously, like, were there, like, how was that experience? Did you take things for granted, or was it just a fun experience?
Honestly, I just realized how much I love the Soo.
Really?
Like, I love, honestly, moving. It's like, man, I love living with my parents at home. I love the Soo. I don't know if I want to
You don't know
leave.
if you want to leave?
I don't want to know if I want to leave at any time soon. Like, I take granted for going to Algoma every day.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I could see that, but I'm just saying, like, so for me, like, obviously, I'm from like the big city and stuff like that. So obviously, coming to here, it's like I like learning this perspective, like people who are from here, because it's like what are some things that they really appreciate? Because like for me, this is my second semester here. I still don't know what I like here, and like I don't really appreciate this too as much as like you guys. So like what are some things that you really like? Well, why don't you
growing up in the Soo?
Yeah, growing up in the Soo.
I just think it's one of the best places to grow up in because you have for example, I went to school across the street there at Anna McRae, and there's about 20 kids in my graduating class. Yeah. And well, 3 of them are still my best friends, and we grew up right beside each other, a 2-minute walk. Mm-hmm. Then I don't know. There's just anything I enjoy. Like it's a great hockey community. Now we have that beautiful indoor soccer facility. Yeah. Great golf courses. An amazing elementary school, 2-minute walk from my house. I have this beautiful university, 30-second walk from my house. It's just everything.
There's little things like that.
Things like that. Then in this summer, we have unbelievable outdoor sites.
I haven't seen. That's one thing I want to do.
I think no matter what, everyone's like, oh, there's nothing to do here. There's nothing to do here. So you have to find what you like and what your interests are. Like you can be bored in Toronto too.
And bringing it back to just school and stuff. How I want to know how balancing school and hockey is for you, because obviously I think that's a bigger workload than for example me and the soccer team. I think it's easier to balance because it's at the same university. I'm on campus. You know what I mean? It's a bit easier, and then you can talk to your coaches. But balancing, I feel like when you're in the OHL, even at the level you are right now,
I think the difference is
balancing soccer too.
And you're balancing soccer too.
I think the difference is you got, I don't know, I think 12 game schedule in the OUA?
Or as of now, it was 10.
It was 10. I think we played 56 games.
Wow. So, and is it more because is it less because of COVID, or is that just how it was?
I think COVID actually reduced it to only 52 this year. So we only lost 4 games this year due to COVID. But that's the thing is you're practicing every day at the same time, and then there's games on the weekend. So you gotta make sure you're getting stuff down before. I have a test tomorrow, and I haven't even studied because I had 2 games the last couple of days. But you just gotta, I don't know. It's definitely I find it tougher than the OUA schedule a little bit. But at the same time, if you're a student athlete, you still gotta face those challenges of making sure you get your stuff done no matter what.
How come I'm curious about this. How come you never try to take the OUA? Because from what I'm hearing is you're playing at a high level out of hockey, been to the OHL. I feel like there are schools that probably would want to look at you or that you could go to.
I think the difference of hockey is since you got drafted to the OHL at such a young age at 16 years old, for example, you have the option of going to play Division I hockey in the States or OUA. But the thing is, most of those schools won't look at you until you're 20 years old. Because you play the OHL and you stop when you're 20, then you have your OHL package that pays for your education. But you don't start till you're 21 years old. And I decided at 17K, I'm going to school next year. I don't want to wait till I'm 21 to go to. Yeah. And the OUA hockey is very competitive. It's a tough scene to make. I don't know if I could crack a roster, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, it's tough because a lot of those ex-OHL guys that don't make the NHL go play the OUA, and it's there's some I think just that last week when the NHL had all those COVID protocols, guys from the OUA, when they weren't playing, were going right to pro hockey teams.
Oh, really? So it's just constant hockey. It's just not stopping.
Yeah, there's just so many options in the hockey world.
So you couldn't really see yourself playing in the OUA?
I just don't see myself playing hockey for much longer, right?
Yeah.
I think I like going to school. I like doing those things. So it's maybe I was gonna realize, hey, I had a good time. Met a lot of great people. And
do you think a lot of I'm not too sure. Do you think a lot of hockey players just trying to go play professional and kind of lose that aspect of education, or?
100%. I'm not gonna say it's a bad thing. If you wanna, there's nothing wrong with living your childhood dream. If you have a goal, go all in, right? Yeah. So a lot of my buddies they don't go to school right now. They just play junior hockey, and they're trying to go to get that scholarship to play D1 or D3 or even OUA. And it's like, hey, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you understand that when you don't make it or if you do make it, you still have to go to school or do something. Like, just don't lose track. Like,
so definitely going, like, obviously you said, like, there are guys in the OUA that are, like, 20, 21. Obviously, it's not a late, by any means, a late age to start education. I just feel like it's like, you know, you spend, like, how many years in hockey, and then it's like, go to education, you know what I mean?
I think you just get trapped in that routine, right? For me, my first year when I played juniors, that's why I said I'm going to school the next year. Like, I just didn't feel great about myself. Like, I would wake up late, I would go to practice, I would work out, and that's all I did all day.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really
do much. Think you missed out on, like, that, or do you still do, like, the kind of, like, social aspects? I know there are a lot of athletes that I'm friends with, and it's just training, school, if they're in school, and just whatever their sport is. They're not hanging out with friends. They're not as much on partying. They're not doing any of that sort of things.
I think I always had a pretty good, like, balance.
Really?
But I don't know. Like, honestly, I'm not a huge, like, let's go out and that stuff. Yeah. Like, sometimes I'm rather sit in my room, play Xbox or something. But I think I had a pretty good balance. Like, I know when it's time to go out, but I know when it's time to, okay, like, we have a game this weekend. Let's just stay in.
Do you know anyone that's, like, you know, die hard, just, like, they're sacrificing, you know, friends, family.
Oh yeah, there's always gonna be those guys, and like sometimes you like, okay, come on with the boys, man. It's not gonna hurt.
Yeah.
But you just gotta respect it. You're not gonna pressure them into anything they don't want to do. That's the biggest thing.
Because I was thinking, like, those guys that just, you know, they're just full into it. You know, they're hardworking and stuff, and it's like they're not letting a single thing like stop them.
And sometimes those guys aren't necessarily the best players, and you're just like, okay, like, it's like, you know, let's go, let's have some fun here.
It's like, you're not touching ice. It's like, come on now, you know, what do you do? But I mean,
and then there's the opposite. Like, there's those guys that just can never be serious. There's guys that are just constantly joking around. And
I know a couple of those guys on my team. But I mean, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean, they're always there. But so you're on the soccer team as well, right?
Yeah.
Do you, like, have that passion for soccer, or is it just something to do besides hockey?
I honestly love soccer more growing up than hockey.
I actually did not.
My sister played pretty high-level soccer, so I was always surrounded by just watching that. And like I said, I wasn't the best hockey player growing up.
Yeah.
I was a way better soccer player. But then you get to a point where you're living in Sault Ste. There's not many.
Yeah, they're actually.
Like, I think soccer is just for some reason, it's a dead game in this city. So it's like, okay, well, I can't play for much longer. There's no more civics teams or rep soccer teams. So it's like, okay, I gotta just play hockey. Mm-hmm. And I still always had that love for soccer, but there's not many options to play.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like if you want to play soccer here, it's kind of hard to make it out or just find opportunity besides, I guess, Algoma too.
Algoma's really the only option. Like, we had a lot of good, talented soccer players growing up, but then you just hit that age, like 14, 15, where, like, people die and they'll, like, will go play football or they'll go play lacrosse for some reason.
Mm-hmm. So currently, when you were, like, playing what's the league you play now? Like,
it's called the NOJHL.
Okay, so with that league, you obviously, like, last month and stuff, due to, like, COVID and stuff, everything was, like, shut down for, well, teams that aren't considered elite. So was your?
Oh yeah, we weren't considered elite.
You weren't considered.
Honestly, I think.
Oh, you guys weren't considered elite.
We were not considered elite.
So you were just. Yeah. At home.
Did nothing for 3 weeks.
Oh really?
I think you guys should be. OUA should be considered elite.
Over
us particular.
Oh wow, I thought you guys would have been
No,
I thought you guys would be considered because to me it seems like a high level of hockey. So I thought you guys should.
I think it is, but I think honestly the OHL got elite level status, which makes sense. But honestly, if anything, the OUA, because our goal is to make the OUA, so it doesn't make any sense how those basketball players couldn't get to continue those season and stuff like that. That didn't make any sense to me.
I feel like especially for a city like here, you know, they could have made an exception. You know what I mean? Like. Here with, like, just the population of the city, it's so small.
For example, they don't even let us go watch basketball games or whatever.
Yeah, I know, that was a bit.
If they're in a tight bubble,
yeah,
I don't
that's
think
true.
It's gonna. Yeah. As long as you test.
I feel like especially here, like the city is such a big involvement in, like, the sports here, especially, like, I feel like going to, like, or just, like, playing a game. And with no fans, it's just kind of like, you know.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Doesn't
atmosphere is there.
And the city is so involved too. So I feel like when they're there, they're really supportive. You know what I mean? So how was that like? Just not really training for, like, I mean, I guess a month or two.
It wasn't brutal. Like, I have some weights in my basement, but
Yeah.
it was honestly just a good break. Like, sometimes
Yeah.
you need a... Because we had that Christmas layover anyways. So
that's true.
We just basically continued it for another couple extra weeks, but we're back into it now, so you can't complain.
Yeah, so obviously with that time, how was it like, when we were in COVID, like when it just happened, was like everything just like everything was shut down, I would assume here.
Oh, honestly, I might be a different perspective, but I loved it. Like,
really?
End of my first junior year, I think I suffered like 2 concussions that season, so I just needed a break, just to recover. So in those 5 months, I just got back into shape and just wanted to feel healthy again.
So you think that break was that COVID, prime COVID just needed?
It saved me. And I'm like, and honestly, if it wasn't for that COVID, I probably would have still been playing. And I'm like, no, I'm going to school next year.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm just going to go to Algoma and I'm going to start right fresh as I can.
Yeah, so I guess for you, I guess it was a positive.
It definitely impacted me in a positive way.
Were there people around you that just, they just hated?
Yeah, there's always going to be the haters, but you got to see the positive in the situation. Cause
obviously, did you feel annoyed? Obviously, when it first happened, you said it was positive, but then you went back to hockey. Then there's another 21-day quarantine or whatever, and then happened again. Was that annoying for you, or do you think it was just okay, it's another refresh?
I think we just got used to it at that point. We're just hey, it is what it is. Just make the best of the situation.
So for you, kind of just accepted it's
it's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
That's why I found it important when I went to school, right? Because when hockey was shut down, I was like, okay, I'm gonna just go on my computer and do my work, and I work at a grocery store, so at the whole time I got.
Oh, so you're balancing hockey work?
Yeah, I love working at the grocery store. I worked there quite a bit, and I was working the whole pandemic because obviously.
So you think obviously with that mental health side that you enjoy learning some of that, taking these breaks into during COVID and stuff. Do you think it kind of teaches or shows athletes that they kind of need a break kind of from just mental health and they're just tired?
Yeah, I think it shows you have a human side to you as well, plus an athlete side. Because on that day, sports isn't everything, right? You have to have somewhat of a fallback just in case you don't proceed to go pro. So it's just showed that, okay, I'm a human too. And I like doing normal things. I like working. I like going to school. I like just hanging out with my buddies. I don't have to be playing hockey or soccer all the time.
So with again, I was curious, what team do you support in the NHL? Is it?
I'm a Leafs fan. Toronto Maple Leafs fan. A little rough, but
always been a.
Oh, I think my teddy bear is named TML after Toronto Maple Leafs when I was 3 years old. So
you're just a diehard.
I'm a diehard Leafs fan. I used to be worse. I used to be a lot worse. Now I kind of.
Have you been to a couple games and stuff?
No, I've been to a lot of games when they're in Detroit, when they played it in Detroit. So.
But you've never been to a home game?
Not in Toronto, no.
Never.
No, I watched quite a bit of games in Detroit when they played the Leafs. But that's
you gotta go to Toronto. I think I've been to one, and I'll be honest, fans are electric. Because obviously you're home.
Yeah. I've been to, honestly, 3 Toronto FC games.
Oh, you've been to 3 Toronto
FC games? But I've never been to a Raptors game or a Leafs game.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, so when you go to with those obviously during the break, summer and stuff, or did you just travel one day and just went?
Well, I think I was just down in Toronto, hey, let's just go. My dad hey, let's just go watch a FC game. Or... Did
you like what did you prefer, the soccer game or the hockey game?
I definitely probably prefer a hockey game to watch, but I think honestly, an important elite level soccer game is the best sport you could watch. That other game against Canada USA,
Oh,
I was into it.
That game was.
I think soccer has a bad rep of being a slow, boring game, but
I think if people actually appreciate.
You just gotta know what it is, and
especially with the whole Canada thing, what's on the line about going to the World Cup. It's every game is your heart's beating. You're thinking okay, we're almost there.
Yeah, there's nothing. There shouldn't be anything bigger in Canada than that right now.
Obviously with Canada, the soccer team going to the World Cup. Obviously, the Olympics are going on right now, and I mean, from what I've heard, is that the NHL players aren't allowed.
They didn't get to go.
I'm a bit curious, how's that?
I'm not sure why. I think because they're under NHL contracts, and I think if they were to test positive for COVID, it was quite a bit of a quarantine period. So I think the NHL and the owners were like, hey, you guys aren't going, you're playing for us.
So who's playing right now for all the
So right now it's like one of the weirdest rosters ever for every team. They're just taking like any guy available. Like I think there's a guy in the OHL playing right now.
Oh, really?
There's he's a year younger than me. I think he's a 2003 birth year playing in the Olympics for Team Canada. And they're just taking anybody, retired guys.
Really?
Like not retired, but like ex-NHL guys playing like the SHL overseas and stuff like that. Still unbelievable hockey players, but
obviously, but it's
just not the best what it could have been.
So you think that like it's a bit shaky right now? Are you watching it?
I haven't watched it. I think I was watching snowboarding last night. It was just on. It was like, this is pretty cool.
I'll be honest, I have not watched the Winter Olympics. I don't think I watched it in a minute. I don't know. I don't think the Olympics have died, but it's like, I feel like back then I was way more into it than I am now.
I remember like the 2010 Vancouver Olympics.
Yeah,
and it's like, I'm into this right now.
I was like into like especially the winter one back then. I was so into it, but now I find myself like, yeah, if I miss a game, it's like it's whatever. You know what I mean? But now I don't know. I feel like the hype isn't there anymore with the Olympics.
I don't know what that is, but you're totally right. Like for example, like the hockey, like this scene.
I always used to watch the hockey one because
like when Sidney Crosby scored that golden goal in overtime, that was unbelievable.
I remember just going crazy. Now it's like,
yeah. Then like what happened from there?
Like, I don't even know because I would always be so excited just to eat. I'm not even a big hockey fan. I never really understood hockey. But it's like when I saw Canada playing the Olympics, it was like, wow, suddenly I like hockey now. You know what I mean?
It's just sick.
But I mean I guess that's how it is. I mean, do you think hockey? Obviously, hockey's not dying, but do you think it's just?
I think it's gonna be tough because it's just getting so expensive.
Yeah.
And the game's changing a lot. The game's changed. Like it's not really a physical.
Oh, it's not physical.
It's not as physical as it used to be. It's
do you like that physical aspect, or do you know?
Yes and no. I think the game's changing for the better, but there's a lot of old people that are like, no, we need to play like this. You need to hit the guy. And it's like now the game's more skill, right? It's fast. It's speed. Like, and you just don't see those plays that used to be like fighting. There's not much fighting in the game anymore.
I didn't even realize that.
So a lot of guys that used to make a career are just fighting.
Yeah.
Are just like useless now because there's really no physicality to that.
You think you're more like, well, obviously as a goalie it's probably a bit different, but like what do you think like kind of separates yourself from like other players, especially going to the OHL? Do you think it was just a bit of just hard work and like?
Well, I'm a very small goalie.
Yeah.
I think I'm just like 5'10" when I got drafted. I think I was the smallest goalie in the whole draft class. So it's just like you have to be when you're that small, you have to be
very still for
you have to be better than you have to outwork that 6'5" giant because he's taking so much net. So I think it's just got to outwork them, and just when you get that chance, you gotta play well and just be consistent as possible.
So is height like just a really big factor in it when it comes to goalkeeping?
I think the average height in the NHL now is just like 6'4" for goalies.
Oh wow!
It's like some teams won't even draft a goalie if they're not above 6'3". They won't even look at them.
So is that where you think that was like a big factor into like what's it called, into like why it was kind of difficult for you, just height really?
Oh, basically my whole life it's finally got to be a guy that's like, you know what, I'm not going to care. I'm looking past this height. I'm just going to trust him to stop the puck. And I think that's a huge aspect now is like there's goalies in the NHL that are like 5'10" and they're playing great, like UC Saros on Nashville. But it's just trusting that guy at that height to make the save because it's like it's a risk factor.
No, that is true. So obviously, I mean, did you think you were gonna like grow even more? Did you just know like this is gonna be difficult?
I think I knew I was down when I hit like 5'10". I was like, okay, like it's nothing I can do now. Just do the best I can at this height. And just keep working because it is possible.
Yeah.
Like the OHL, for example, there's not many goalies. I don't think there's many goalies under 6 feet, but in the NCAA, like a ton are under 6 feet, and it's all about what the coaches and what they say now. Yeah.
So I wanted to bring back because obviously like a week or two ago, was obviously like the Bell mental health talk and stuff. Did you is there a big mental health side like to hockey? Like do you think there's not enough mental health support there?
I think in the past years it's just come out so much because, like, for example, like Carey Price, probably the world's best goalie. He came out this year, he's like, hey, like, I need help. Like, I don't think I can do this anymore.
Yeah.
And then that was a huge part for many guys. Like, whoa, like this guy's coming out, like saying, I need help. I think because you're playing so many games, and like those guys are taking tons of painkillers and all that stuff. So it's like same with NFL. Like those guys are taking so many pain just to play a football game, right?
Yeah.
It's not the healthiest thing in the world. Like
exactly. Is there guys like that on your team, or like when you were playing hockey, they're just like mentally just drained, and like do they get the support or not as much?
I think like that's why I honestly mainly took psychology, because I saw like, hey, like guys are struggling here. Like it's not easy moving away from home, playing hockey, no matter what level. And guys were breaking down like, hey, I don't know if I want to keep playing. I don't know.
Yeah.
And guys are quitting year after year just because they're like, hey, is it even worth it anymore?
Yeah. So with that psychology program, you want to become like a sports psychologist, and
yeah, I think I just want to attack that part of the game. It's definitely like seeding. It's like it's gonna be big in a couple of years, I find.
Yeah. So after that, after school, that's really what you want to just focus on and try to help. Obviously, like any athlete, or just hockey specifically, or
I think I might branch into the sports.
Yeah.
I think I mainly just want to help people in general, but then I want to branch off into sports, mainly hockey, but anything really. Because really, we don't really have any other sports in the Soo.
Obviously.
So we really just have to be hockey.
I honestly wish Stockholm had a hockey team. I feel like they do decent in the. I think, I don't know.
That's tough. I think we could, but it takes so long to build a program.
That's true.
It takes years to build a.
Yeah.
Like even our soccer team, like we're still a fairly new program compared to.
Oh yeah, compared to a lot of teams.
Compared to a lot of teams, like
I just felt like with hockey, I feel like it'd be a faster catch up, just because like it's very like local, I guess, and maybe guys would give it a shot. But
definitely could work. Like I think they should consider in the future, because there's so many great hockey players looking for a place to play. Just stop playing. Especially
here, I feel like for some sports, like besides hockey, people just people just go out like to other schools and stuff like that, to like play sports and stuff. But
100%.
I mean, that's really how it is. Do you think that I actually wanted to ask you about one thing that was on my mind. About like the Soo is football here. Like high school football.
Yeah, I don't know. I went to Cora, and it was like everyone loved it. Like high school football is like improving insanely. Like
I was curious about it, because like I'm scrolling through Instagram stuff. I'm seeing like, wait, football actually might be like a big thing here. Or I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Well, like in the last like decade, it just took off. Like people love playing football, and
because I'm seeing schools here winning offs and all this stuff. I'm like, wait, is Sault Ste like really? Are these guys good at football and stuff? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so in my high school, I think those guys would literally work out every day at like 4:30 and like this insane practice.
I'm seeing 03s and like people in the 04s, 05s, like huge. Like I was on Instagram scrolling. I'm like, whoa, this guy's not an 04, but this guy's not 17. This guy's huge.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like I remember walking in that gym in high school. It's like. The records were like, man, how is anyone even lifting this weight right now?
That's one thing I really wanted to ask, like, just about that football culture, because I was like, okay, you guys have hockey, which is really big, and then I'm seeing football.
I think the reason for that is like kids are realizing like how hard it is to make in hockey.
Yeah. So
there's like, hey, right now it's like I'm playing football.
You think the States has like, because obviously you guys are like a border city to like the States. Do you think like that has a bit of a thing, or not really?
Not really. I think at the end of the day, I think America is just still so much more advanced than us at American like football.
Yeah.
So like I think my high school played a couple American teams, and I don't even think they came like close. Really? But they're winning provincial champions like nothing. Yeah. But they're playing like a small American school. And
so have you played teams in the States a lot? Or?
I've personally never played football, but
not football. Sorry, I meant hockey. Sorry.
On hockey, yeah. Like right now we have an American team in our league, and they're pretty good. This right across the border, the Sioux Eagles. Oh, and they're pretty.
Are they a rival or no?
Oh yeah,
really?
Yeah, like I think last game at the Polar, like iconic stadium, there's like 900 people there.
Really?
Yeah, they just packed it for us.
I might have to check that. One. Are our fans allowed to go right now to games, or is it still?
Yeah, I think we're allowed like 175 people last night. Not many, but
it's
we don't get many fans in general. Anyways.
Oh really?
No. It's tough for us with the Soo Greyhounds in town. Like, people.
Yeah,
obviously. I mean, I don't blame them. I'd rather.
Yeah,
they're gonna go watch that.
I mean, because that must be a sick rivalry. Not gonna lie, the States and like you guys.
It's not bad at all.
Anyways, I want to thank you for joining us today on the episode.
Thanks.
And thank you guys for watching.